And so I'm gonna add that one just because I can. Because who's gonna stop me? That's the better question. Nobody. Anyway, how's everyone doing today? And people better show up for this one too, because I'm gonna cry if they don't. Like, I'm gonna fight in the street if people don't show up to this one. Hey, Leia. I already said hey to you, but hey, Blake. Thank you though. Just popping in for a bit while I'm break at work. Per. Hey, Blakey. So today, what we're doing is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be a little different because, as you know, I do a podcast where I talk about X-Men 97. So I was thinking, how fun would it be to just record the podcast episode on live? Instead of having to go and do all the extra and the this and the that, I can just get a twofer and just go live, talk to y'all, see what y'all thought about the episode, as well as make it a podcast episode. Now, is that a little bit lazy? It absolutely 100% is. It just is what it is. This time is just gonna be what it is, because I thought, why not try to at least combine the two? I mean, I'm not clearly gonna do this every single time, but oh, girl, are you a serial killer? Okay. The girl, my mama got home. I was like, who is that? Wait, you didn't have to go see her? You didn't have to go see her? Oh. Oh. I forgot y'all were here. I'm sorry, my bad. That's all bad. Y'all, I'm so sorry. The way I completely forgot that I was on live, and I'm so used to like recording things and then doing it like that. I swear to God, I forgot y'all were here. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so I thought, you know, why not just make it? Yes, I am wearing my Halloween shirt as well. I don't have an X-Men shirt to wear, so it'll have to be all right. But I was like, why not just go ahead and just combine the two? But before we get started, how's everyone's day going so far? I know we're in the middle of the day, but how's everyone's day going so far? And then I get it, ever get it, I do. Yeah, I do the way I do. I'm going to try to cut up. I'm not going to try not to cut up. I said I'm going to try to cut up. I'm going to try not to cut up too bad, because I do want this to be, you know, since this is going to be a podcast, I want it to be okay. Not the feral dog. Girl, hush. Oh, better with the surprise. Oh, thank you, Blakey. Thank you, Blakey. Blakeyana. Blakeyette. So, if you are not an X-Men fan, or you're like me and you're just kind of getting into X-Men and you're just sort of getting into like the story, things like that, I don't have a lot of knowledge of the story of the show. I have knowledge of certain storylines. I have knowledge of some of the characters, individual plot lines, things like that. So I wanted to do this podcast as a way of sort of getting into it while also exploring some new avenues, maybe getting some new information from different people that I never would have talked to beforehand. So we are here today to discuss X-Men 97, episode 7, Bright Eyes. If you have been watching it or you plan to watch it and you don't want spoilers, please do not listen to this. I am going to be spoiling today's episode, and if you do not want to be spoiled of today's episode, then please click on off. Because as much as I want you here, I also want you to enjoy the show, because baby, they cut up this episode. X-Men 97 this season has been giving me very much soap opera. There's, in a good way, it's been giving me soap opera. It's been giving me storyline, drama, intrigue, low-key cheating, children that don't belong who they're supposed to belong to. lovers that have gone on to the upper room, like, and lower, because let's just be 100% honest. But I mean, there's so much that has happened in these past episodes. So episode 7, Bright Eyes, picks up after the attack on Genosha. So, you know, where we left off in the past couple of episodes, Genosha was attacked. A lot of people met their end, unfortunately, including Gambit and Magneto. So the world is in shambles. Everyone is in complete disbelief that this has happened. We start episode 7 off with Gambit's funeral, and it's one of the saddest like moments I think that we one of the saddest, as in like one of the moments that I think has been like sad in and of itself, not like sad as a whole, like the attack itself, but just seeing the picture of Gambit and watching them lower him into the ground. Like, girl, I'm telling you, my nerves was bad. My nerves was bad watching that. And like, Jubilee was upset because Rogue wasn't there. Poor Nightcrawler, bless his heart. He was the one that was holding the funeral, conducting it. But what does a person do that's over the funeral? That's doing the funeral. What is it? What do they call it? Anyway, so he's the one that's doing it, and this is his friend, and he is laying his friend to rest. And we see the X-Men. I don't know the word. I think I never really thought that I didn't know the word until I had to say the word. He's, I don't know. He put the man, hey Trinell, how are you doing? He's putting the man up in there. The director, is he directing the funeral? Oh, hey Jason, is he directing the funeral? I feel like, hey Shantae, I feel like don't none of us know what we talking about. We're just gonna say that Kurt is the one that's given the whatever, and he's dressed up like a priest, an officiate. I don't know what the word is, and it really, I need to, okay, here we go with me getting obsessed with little details. My point being that he is the one that is giving the funeral, right? And so we see everyone kind of dealing with it in their own way. Like I said, Jubilee is very upset that a funeral director, not me, hush, leave me alone. You know I'm not all there. We see Jubilee upset that Rogue is not there, and Wolverine is comforting her and saying like, people have different ways of handling this, of handling grief. And my girl is a gone in the head. Bless her heart. She is upset. And then we cut to, baby, listen, let me tell you something. Rogue was cutting up. She said somebody gonna give her some answers, and dagnabbit, she wants them right now. And it's fun seeing Rogue kind of like cut up like this, because I think you kind of forget that she has powers outside. Not forget, but I think that her power of absorption is kind of like at the forefront so much for a person like me who really hadn't watched the cartoon for ages and hasn't really read the comics. And I keep putting an emphasis on that because I don't want to say something and someone is like, well, of course she has that power. Are you stupid? No, I'm not stupid. I just haven't been as immersed in this world as other people have. So for me, it was fun to see her like, I mean, the super strength was cutting up. Mama was flying at supersonic speeds. She went up against Captain America and was looking at Captain America like he was stupid. I was tickled because you would have thought, like, he wasn't backing down though. He wasn't backing down. Hey, son Stony, I can't wait to share more of you with the world. I'm so excited. But Rogue was showing out. At one point, she is outside tearing these people up. I'm talking about turning over tanks, bashing tanks with another tank, throwing people, kicking the ground, superhero punching the ground, breaking it up, breaking the rock, breaking the earth, everything like that. And then down there, like underneath in the facility, they're like, everybody's kind of freaking out, like, And then looking at the person in charge like, what do we need to do? This man very calmly is just like, should be all right. We're in a bunker that could hold off the Hulk. We're good. Girl. Why about the time he said that, he's sitting up there sipping his chamomile tea? Why Rogue done beat the place in? And she done got up in there. And everybody's just like, I was shocked. Because the way she ate that up, I said, I said, no, ma'am. It ain't no way. I could not, I don't think, have just accepted that and just sat down. I probably would have like peed on myself or something. And she grabbed that man up and she was like, somebody's gonna give me some ounce of sugar. Cause you know she sounded like Blanche Devereaux in my mind. Like in my mind, she's Blanche Devereaux. And so she's like, somebody's gonna give me some ounce of sugar. And the man is like, I don't know what to tell you. And Rogue is like, okay, bet. And see, this is why I'm glad I knew beforehand that she could absorb people's memories and stuff. Because, baby, when she put her hand on that man and started absorbing, I said, oh my God. I was shocked. I thought she was going to take the man's life. I said, and then when she got to the place, the mountain or whatever it was where that man had been, girl, and she got there and she saw Captain America and she was like, she was like, what are you doing here? And he's like, girl, don't play with me like that. I'm trying to be cool and not come out of a bag. And she literally looked at him like, well, you can come out of a bag if you want to, but it's going to be a shopping bag that I'm going to toss in the wind because you ain't playing with me. And they realized that the people been gone, whatever else. They don't know what the OTK? OKT? It was OTK. Okay. Y'all, the memory is not here. But I got some notes, but I don't like looking at them because I want to feel like I know what I'm talking about. And I don't want to be that person that's like, let me look at my notes. And it's OZT. This is why I can't be trusted. If you want to remember the specifics, I'm not your man. Because he's going to mess up some initials. And she's trying to find out where the man is that she feels like... I feel like Cap told her all she needed because he himself didn't want to rock the boat. Yes. And that's another thing that's very important to this entire episode is there are a lot of politics involved. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of I want to be involved. However, I can't. Because she calls him out on the fact that he's always been an ally to mutants. But now all of a sudden... you don't want the same level of retribution that we do. That's how she's looking at it. And it's a weird tug of war for me internally, which is good because that's what the story is supposed to do. Is even the man that was talking to Cyclops was telling him, you need to chill out. Because if someone else gets elected and they don't have your best interest in mind, you're going to be looking real crazy. So it's like, it's a very self-serving thing, but he's right at the same time. Like, yes, he does want to get reelected. Yes, he is trying to appeal to the masses. However, he's right at the same time within that. And it may come from a place of corruption, but he's absolutely right. They do need people in office that are going to be on their side. We even see it later on with, what's his name? Okay. I ain't seen the boy in so long. Roberto, we even see it with his mom. His mom fully accepts him. His parents fully accept that he is a mutant. They love him regardless. They think that they already knew. So they think it's good that he trusted them enough to finally come and say it. If he was only talking to his mama, but still, that part is good. He's been worried about nothing this whole time. But her first thought is, because she's had time. That's the other part that I think was hard to kind of digest in that moment until I went back and thought about it, was she's had time to process that his that her son was, a mutant, and that he's going to eventually tell us. He's going to have to. So when he does, this is how we're going to respond. This is how we're going to react, because it's a necessity. They have to keep their business going. They have to keep their livelihood going. And unfortunately, that means that some of the people who invest in them are not going to be accepting of a mutant being in their family. So she's aware, as is his father, that they have to essentially keep who he is a secret, and he has to only associate with certain people. So we see that playing out through his storyline. We see it playing out in Rogue's storyline. We see it playing out in Cyclops' storyline, trying to get the help that they need. It's in Genosha, and you also see it when Beast is talking to the reporter. Can everyone hear me okay, by the way, because I know I'm just up here just like really, really talking and whatever else. So can everybody hear me? Everybody hear me? Sorry. One day I too will have a love story on TikTok. Listen, we sure will. Baby, we sure will. One day we sure will have a love story on TikTok. We stand. But audio. Okay, good. So we see it when Beast is talking, when they're in Genosha, and the lady who was doing the interview outside of the X Mansion in a previous episode when Genosha got attacked, she's there, and she is like completely just in awe of this destruction. Like, she is looking at everything around her, and she's just in disbelief that this is going on. And Beast even says that he's excited that she's the one that's going to get a chance to tell this story, because he trusts her. And so as they're having their discussion, she essentially says, like, y'all gotta, play the game. Like, y'all gotta play the game, because we don't want people to be scared of you. And it's interesting that in this episode, it's not just her, but there's someone else, and I can't remember who, but they say normal people. I heard that several times. Normal people, regular people, things like that. We don't want the people. And no one ever addresses it in the story. Like, no one stops them and says, like, what do you mean regular? Because they know what they mean. But I think that's another level of how sad it is that they understand what they mean. The president said it. She said it. Yeah. I couldn't remember who specifically, but I knew it was more than one person that said the normal people, regular people, everyday people. They're making that distinction between mutants and regular people. And we don't want the regular people, the normal people, to be upset by mutants. Girl. As somebody who is part of two different communities that I don't know how to phrase it, because TikTok likes to do its own little thing, are not received well and are often persecuted. Lord, I hope that doesn't, whatchamacallit. I identified with that particular aspect of this episode so much. Just trying to make other people comfortable. Just trying to adjust myself to be, and I'm talking about me because it is an issue as a whole, but I don't want to speak for the whole either community, because I am not the Lorax. I don't speak for the trees. I can speak for me. I can speak to our general experience, but you as a Black person, or a person of color, or as a person who is part of the, alphabet mafia, you may have a completely different experience. And this episode really hit hard when I listened to what they said, because I was thinking, like, these are the people that they're choosing to protect, but they're also having to placate them. And you have mutants apparently that are rioting in the streets. And she says, yeah, but rioting is just more destruction. And Beast gives her the perspective that people are angry, and sometimes they don't know how to express that. And it comes out in different ways, sometimes ones that are very abrasive. And that line, that exchange, like, girl, I was almost crying through most of this episode, because I was just like, it's such a good depiction of regular everyday life and discussions that we hear. And you know, when we've, in the past couple of years, when we've had riots that were going, you know, people will be like, well, why would you destroy your economy? I don't think that people know quite what it's like to constantly feel like you literally cannot walk out of your house, and you cannot walk out of your home without someone coming for you. And I appreciate the fact that they did have that exchange, because I felt like it was very, I don't know what word to use. It was very impactful to hear. And what's interesting is that in this whole thing, you also have these humans who are attacking the mutants in different horrible fashions. And even at the beginning of this season, we had one of them say, you don't know what it's like to be pushed into, you know, being obsolete and whatever else. And I just think it is insane that you would hate somebody so much because you see them as a threat to your sense of normalcy, that you would try to destroy them in the name of keeping your normalcy, because they exist. And unfortunately, that is an experience that we have every day. While no, we may not walk out into the street on a day-to-day basis and experience that, there's the potential that we can. And it's even like when Jean was talking earlier in the season about her baby, and she kind of wanted him to be born human because she didn't want to have to explain to him what being different was like. And as a black man, all I can think about that, and then this episode and just the way everyone is sort of responding to this huge tragedy, is even in the midst of tragedy, even in the midst of loss and destruction, the mutants still have to play the game. Like, that don't seem weird. Like that doesn't seem insane that that mutants have experienced this horrible tragedy, and they are processing the fact that it happened because they are mutants. And they still have to play the game. And they still have to make other people feel comfortable, because their point still needs to be accepted and it needs to come across. And it can't do that if you're being perceived as aggressive. That hits a little too close to home. It hits a little too close to home. Because I have had to remind people several times, I am still black. Yeah, I laugh and talk with people. The reason I say that is I had an experience once where I was talking, this was around like 2016, and we all know what was going on in 2016, and I was just expressing how kind of concerned I was for what was about to happen. And somebody was like, well, but you don't act like everyone else, you know, it's not like you're gonna just be getting in trouble all the time or something. And I was like, what does that mean? And that's why when Roberto tells them I'm one of the good ones, they kind of laugh at him like, anyway. And even in this episode, when they look at Rogue and they're like, aren't your people supposed to be the good ones? Or whatever he says. Aren't you supposed to be one of the good ones? And Rogue is like, Rogue is like, baby, I'm sorry to tell you, my love, but you picking in the right cut and you about to get your 100 right now. And I don't think people know quite what it's like to feel that. And so that's why this episode resonates so hard with me. And I knew I was gonna have kind of a harder time talking about this one. Because it's just this aftermath of destruction. And yeah, on one hand, Rogue has lost not one but two people that she loved. But her, literally a piece of her in her race, the mutant race, mutant kind, has been wiped out in one foul swoop. And she is hurting and she doesn't know what to do with that. And can everyone hear me? I'm so sorry. Okay, because I had a call coming through. Okay, there we go. But people don't know what it's like to be that angry and that confused and sad. If I had superpowers, baby, I would have been cutting up too. Just seeing everyone, thank you, Jason. Just seeing the way that everyone reacted to it. And it is hard when you don't know how to have that discussion with other people, because yeah, some people might be open, but you know, they also might not be, or they may not know, and then it's going to make them uncomfortable. And I don't know if I really want to talk, you know, so then you have to think, well, do I put other people in that position, or do I just, you know, express myself? So I say all that to say, Rogue's anger culminates in her going to, I don't know these people's names, I'm horrible with names, the place where the man with the glasses who Jean read his mind, he's being like put up at this place. And she's like, this is not a prison, this is like a resort. And I mean, like, literally it's a mansion, and he's got guards and all this, and like, he is good, he is Gucci. And she goes in there and he knows what's about to happen because Rogue is outside cutting up. So she's asking him questions about it, and he's like, I don't know anything. And you can tell your little mutant friend, the one that can reach into people's minds, she ain't gonna reach into my mind today. And Rogue said, I am sick and tired of y'all thinking that I'm gonna play by these rule books. Baby, we are cutting up today. And she zapped that man's mind. Next thing you know, child, I'm thinking the man had gone on to glory. I really did. I thought the man had gone on to glory. But she just took the information that she needed out of his head. And we see her using her power multiple times in this episode. And that's so significant because, like, she was frightened of hurting Scott's baby. She was so scared that she was going to hurt that baby. And she even apologized to the doctor before she got the knowledge out, but she knew it was a necessary evil. And she did what she had to do in that moment And here we see her just doing it. Like, there's no hesitation. Not to say there's no remorse, but there's no hesitation. And she's doing it because she knows that's what needs to get done. And that's the only way I'm going to get what I need out of everybody, baby. Rogue was standing on business. A big business. Do you hear me? Big business. This episode. Rogue said, I'm done playing. She said, I am done playing. I'm done waiting for everybody to give me answers when they want to, if they want to. And I'm going to get done what I need to get done. Speaking of Cyclops, we see Cyclops this episode missing Madeline. Baby, he has got it bad for Madeline. And poor Jean, she knows. She knows. So the X-Men go to Genosha so that they can help locate any survivors. And Scott is basically saying, like, we need to find survivors because it'll give mutants hope. And he's asking the government, and the government is like, no, baby, I'm not doing that because I'm trying to, I can't remember if that man was the president or if he was like an I can't remember what kind of elected official he was, but he was the one that was telling him, like, if you want this, you know, continued support, then it's imperative that I stay in office. So Scott assembles the X-Men, and they go to Genosha. Oh, God. Oh, thank you, Jason. Baby, that scared the mess out of me. But, girl, I was like, oh, God. But no, they go to Genosha to help look for X-Team, you know what I was trying to say, Tornell. So they go to, Genosha to help, you know, find survivors. And they're looking, and Jean knows that this man is hoping that Madeline is alive. Like, Jean is not stupid. Jean may faint. Jean may be weak. Jean clocked in this episode too, but Jean knows what's up. Jean, when she says, like, she's talking to him and he's like, but you always come back. And she's like, cause she just got done telling him, like, I literally was taken over by entities and stuff for you. But he's like, but you always came back. But they both know this time is different. And she gets a psychic attack. That's the only word I know how to use for it, is a psychic attack. Because my girl gets to grabbing in her head and she didn't do all of that. But she didn't do all of that. She didn't do all of that, but she did in my mind. And she realizes that someone in there is alive, but that it's a person that's a telepath. This man gets so excited. Cyclops gets he gets giddy because he thinks that it is Madeline. Like, phasers on 10 excited because he thinks that it is Madeline. And I'm kind of with Jean. Like, are you for real right now? Like, you really gonna play in my face like that? Because me personally, I would have crushed him under a rock. I would have done something. Like, even if you don't go fully under the rock, I gotta crush your toe or something. Something gotta happen. I'm finna break one of your fingers telekinetically. Something. I have to do something because you're not finna play in my face like that. You are not about to play in my face like that. So it turns out that they find Emma Frost. Emma Frost has turned into a diamond form, and Beast is confused because he's like, how now, brown cow, did this happen? Because this must be like some kind, hey Beezy, how you doing? This must be some kind of secondary mutation that has just come up. And like, Emma be eating these folks up. Emma eats everybody up. She is the baddest in the game. And she's just like, I've always done well under pressure. I stand. Because anytime you can be stuck in a diamond form on the only reason you even survived is because you were in the diamond form. And your diamond is cracked. That's the thing. Part of the form is actually cracked. This woman is literally coughing, gasping for air, and she still had time to get a cute little quip out. Oh, baby, we have to live. We have to stand. There's no way that I'm not going to stand this woman. I don't care if she doesn't make but one more appearance in this entire show. I don't care if she doesn't make another one. I live for her. Because when she said that, I was like, yes, ma'am. And just like when she asked a woman, when she was like, what's wrong? Is it your dress? Miss Emma. Miss Emma. Miss Emma. Baby, so that's my girl. That's my boo. Now, mind you, Scott, when he realizes it's not Madeline, is crying his little optic lasers out. Like his little lasers are about to fall to the ground. He is crying over this woman because it wasn't his lady. Hey James, because it was not his lady. And then Jean puts her hand, she consoles him. And I was like, girl, you are stupid. You are stupid. I'm sorry. I know there's being the bigger person. I'm always the bigger person. So I don't have to worry about that. There is no way that he finna cry over this woman. And he didn't even realize it wasn't me. And no, now, could he have known that it wasn't her? That's not the point. That's not the point. That's not the point. You worried about the wrong thing. Galen, would not have allowed. I'm not gonna comfort you. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to figure it out. You're just gonna have to be sad all on your own. If you need to go in the bathroom and cry, go in the bathroom and cry. Cause I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't have anything to do with that. But that's just me being petty. Jean is apparently a good person. Jean, right? Aw, thank you, Jason. Thank you for the galaxy. I feel like we were supposed to do something for the galaxy. Alien Superstar. We were supposed to do Alien Superstar. Oh, well, I'll catch the next one. Baby, Rogue absolutely stopped. We were talking about that earlier. Rogue absolutely stopped being the bigger person. And if you're not aware, I am going to be uploading this episode as a podcast episode. So that's why I'm kind of trying to stay a little bit on task. This is going to be my little experimentation with this format. But this was an episode that I really wanted to give like my raw opinion of versus trying to like sit down and be like, okay, I think this about it. I just wanted to talk about it. So no, that's why no one's face is going to be up there. It's just going to be like your username may come up, but I may not even upload the video version of it. I may just do the audio, but yeah, so that's what this one is going to be. Child, that's not even the whole episode. That's literally not even the whole episode. That is how much they packed in a good way, not packed in a bad way, but like packed in a good way into this story. So we already kind of went over, thank you, Jason. We already went over Roberto telling his mom about being a mutant, and she guzzles a glass of wine. Like when he says it, I was thinking, I knew she was gonna be cool with it because, you know, subverting expectation and all that. But the way she guzzled that glass of wine was given like, oh God, he finally said it. Good. It was given Sandra Lee. It was giving very much Sandra Lee. Just a shot of tequila. And then we pour for 15 minutes. It was giving a little bit of that. So I was like, okay, I think she's going to accept it. But is it going to be kind of like a, But my girl accepted it. And the discussion that leads him to tell his mom about, oh, thank you, Jason. I ain't never seen that. Come on, Lemonade. The discussion that he has with Rogue, with Gambit is, oh my God, am I okay? I'm looking at Gambit and saying, Gambit, the discussion he has with Jubilee, sweet merciful Jesus, is one of my favorite like exchanges of theirs because it was very real. And he's asking her, like, do you think there's going to be a war? She says, I don't know. She reveals that her former foster parents called her and they haven't talked in months. And they were asking her the same question, but she doesn't have an answer to the question. And she basically tells him through that, baby, Gambit is a whole other... Blake said Gambit has that effect on people. Baby, I got something else he can have an effect on, but that's neither here nor is it there. And so... I gotta get out of the habit of saying "and so" when I'm trying to transition into something else. But anyway, Jubilee basically tells him, do you really want your parents to have found out who you were through finding out that their son was gone? Oh, thank you, Jason. And do you really want your parents to have found out who their son was because of an attack that happened? Do you want them to find out on the 5 o'clock news? That is not how you want this to go. And he initially is like, don't pressure me into this. But she's like, she's kind of looking at him like, you know I'm right. You know I'm right. Hey, Tion. She's like, you know I'm right. And he realizes it. And when he says, will you go with me? And she's like, duh. I want to find love like that one day. That's the kind of love I want to find. And are they in love right now? No. But I want to find, or maybe they are, I don't know. But I want to find someone that cares about me like that. Like, I want someone that's like, yeah, stupid, I'm going to go with you. That's why I brought it up. That's another thing that I think that really, really got me. Was like the amount of love that everyone has for someone, right? It's like Scott is over here falling to pieces over Madeline, and then you got Rogue, who's falling to pieces over Magneto and Gambit, and then you have oh my god, did you hear my finger? Then you have Jubilee and Roberto, who are sharing this very close moment, and I was like, I can't wait to be in love. One day I want to be in love like that. But it's not about like the traditional, like, oh, we're in love, we hold hands. It's not about that. I think what's beautiful in this is that these moments of strife are showing people how they really feel. And I hate that it's tied to this negativity, but I think it's an important reminder to follow your heart while you can, and to listen to yourself while you can, and to enjoy life and love while in its most beautiful form, instead of receiving it when it's through a negative lens. Like, you don't want it to be at someone's funeral and then you realize, oh my god, I love this man so much, or she's gone now and I'll never talk to her and I love her so much. You don't want that, even though Cyclops' situation is a little bit different, so you can't really count his. But it's, I don't know, it just made me think about that. And it just made me think, like, maybe one day I'll have that love. But anyway, that's neither here nor is it there. Somebody said in the chat here about when Rogue said, my man. Yes, Sherry said when Rogue said the Gambit was a good man, her man, he took out a good man, my man. And I was like, my girl is hurt. And I love moments like that in media, when the person says something that they mean, but they don't realize that that's what they mean, and it comes out. Like, we see Rogue go down a dark path this episode. Like, when I say dark, I mean dark. So she has passed out outside of this this Day of the Dead festival. I'm assuming that that's what it was, like a celebration for the Day of the Dead. I don't know for sure, but that's what it looked like to me. It might not have been. So can someone please help me with that, who may be a little bit more knowledgeable about that culture? But she's passed out, and Nightcrawler comes and finds her, and she's like, other than a headache, I'm doing good, whatever. And she's like, oh, you really lost out in the adopted sister department with this girl who cries over a man, like, because she lost a boy. And then Nightcrawler says, well, you lost two. Like, I think he was really trying to make her see, like, girl, stop trying to minimize this. Stop trying to suppress how you feel in this moment just so you can whatever. You lost two people that you care about. Like, let's be for real. And she looks so guilty. And that made me realize there's a whole other layer to this, because the whole time she's talking about Gambit, right? The whole time she's talking about how she's lost Gambit and y'all took him from me and whatever else. But when she looks away and she looks so guilty, you realize she doesn't want to say she lost Magneto because she doesn't want to disrespect Gambit. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about making sure that you follow your heart while you can, because she took that love from them in at the end, towards the end of his life, of Gambit's life, because he realized, I can't have every part of you, and you crave this thing so much that even though you may love me, it's not going to work out between us. And I think that she feels so guilty because it's like, I took that from him, and now, well, not took it from him, but you know what I'm trying to say, you know, and now I have to find that retribution for him, and I can't betray him any further by carrying on this even after they're, you know, going to the upper room and saying, I want to protect me, you know, I want to get retribution from Magneto too. And so it just is so multi-layered. And then when she sees the whole team standing behind her, and she just bursts out crying. Girl, my nerves were bad. My nerves were so bad that I was hurting because she was so hurt. And it was like, it was just that moment. And at one point in the episode, Bolivar, because that's so stupid, Bolivar Trask, Bolivar, that is such a stupid name, Bolivar. But then, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna find out that that is native to a certain part of the world, and then I'm gonna feel real dumb and played. And I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna pretend like I ain't ever said that. Yep, that's what's gonna happen. Never mind, Bolivar might be a real name. The reason I get so mad when I hear Bolivar is because I kept thinking, like, am I having hearing issues? And I'm hearing like a sound before they say Oliver, because I've never heard Bolivar before. And so like I got really caught up on that because I'm like, am I missing something? And then when they had it written on the screen and it actually had the B, I said, oh, there's a B in front of his name. Okay. I said, oh, okay. But anyway, child, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm a hush. A Ratchet X-Men episode, child. I don't know. Now I don't know. That might be a little bit too out of my league. I might not do that. I don't know. We made James Benjamin. I want to say that. So just in case I don't upload the whatever version, I know who it was. So yeah, we may do a Ratchet X-Men. I don't know for sure if we're gonna do that, but we might, cause you asked. We'll see, cause they got a lot happening. Sugar. So speaking of sugar, Bolivar tells them, Trask, I think it's Trask, tells them, like, I didn't know how this was gonna happen. I didn't know that this was what was gonna go down. I'm thinking that we was just gonna, I guess, get rid of mutants. I didn't know that he was gonna do all of this. And they're like, who are you talking about? And I love that mutants reacting to Jean's cooking. That video is so, when Jean and Gambit are cooking and she's like, why are you doing it? I love that video. Anywho, we might do a little something. John. Girl, what am I trying to say? Okay, see? Okay, all right. Get back on task. So, I couldn't understand. I almost felt like, is nobody just gonna say that this is probably a trap? I was expecting for like the dialogue to say this is probably a trap, but we're going to go anyway because we have to, you know, save whatever we have to find out. It was very interesting that they would, like, Cyclops is just like, yeah, let's go. And Morph is like, what's happening here? And he was like, or Morph was like, you know, we can't trust him, right? And Cyclops is like, okay, anyway. And so they go to, I'm guessing Tokyo. I think it was Tokyo. I don't know. They said the name of it. I completely forgot. I don't know where they were at. If you want detailed commentary on the specific things, I might not be your person because sometimes I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so they get there and Bolivar has told them that everyone in the bank in the place is good. You should just be able to come on in. Come on. So they come in there, they realize everyone's been knocked out with sleeping gas. They go up there. Bolivar is getting ready to jump off the building. And they're looking around at all these sentinels, and they're like, but this looks so advanced. Like, how could he have gotten access to this kind of technology? So Rogue is like, let me guess. Oh, now we gotta say, no, it's Wolverine is like, I guess we gotta save him from himself. And Bolivar is up there, and he's talking about how crazy this is. He didn't know any of this was gonna happen. He's not gonna let Sinister turn him into an even worse person than he is. And then he goes to fall, and Rogue catches him, and she's just like, y'all, I'm telling you, my mouth dropped because Rogue catches him, and then she's like, you need to tell us you need to give us this information, blah blah blah. He says, I have nothing left. And she says, me neither, sugar. And she drops the man and lets him fall to his demise. Girl, I was flabbergasted. I sat there with my mouth open like you wouldn't believe. I was like, did we just watch her descend? And like, everyone is like, what did you just do? And she's like, he took a good man out of this world, my man. And then as she's giving her little speech, boom, explosion happens, right? Bolivar has now come back to life-ish. I wasn't 100% sure what was going on there, as a sentinel, a humanoid sentinel. Girl, he was eating them people up. He threw Morph. He was throwing Beast and whoever else that was. Jean clocked in. Jean said, I'm finna go ahead and I'm finna just throwing buildings at you. I'm finna do this, I'm finna do that. Jean actually did a little bit of something, and he flung her. He flung Cyclops, baby. He was eating them folks alive. And so then we see a little thing show up, and it, detonates. And then it destroys Bolivar. And so it turns out that it's Cable. And Cable comes and talks to them. Jean gets another psychic attack. I don't know why it's so funny to call it a psychic attack. Jean gets another psychic attack. And then she realizes, she's like, oh, she's gooped. She was just as gooped as we were when we found out. And she was like, oh, she's like, you're their son. Like, she's like, oh my God. And so then, what's his name? He's like, get out of my head. You're not her. Girl. So then Cyclops is like, Nathan, and he's like, let's not have this reunion, Dad. And I was like, what is happening? So he tells them that the only way to destroy these human sentinel things is with the thing that he brought, right? So then we go to this. So Sinister is going to this strange person who, I don't know who that person is, but apparently this is the person that Sinister is working for. So Sinister is working for someone. And that person basically tells him, like, you were one of the villains of back in the day. Y'all didn't get stuff done, so I'm gonna do stuff differently. I'm gonna learn from what y'all did. And Sinister says, well, you were one of us too, whatever else. So then we see this person go somewhere else. Now, I completely got to mention, this person goes back and unalives the person that Rogue had tore up earlier, the one that was in the mansion thing. So he takes him out. So my thing, I think that he's gonna say, like, Rogue is the one who, sent him on to the lower room, and so that way he can blame her, and then we can have like a full-on smear campaign and against mutants. And then this person, it is revealed to us at the end of the episode that this person has Magneto not only alive, but he has him collared, so he can't use his powers, and he's holding him hostage. Girl, I am telling y'all that this episode was so messy and deep, and it was just like chocked full of story. They could probably, if they took some of these storylines, they could probably make like a season, 2 seasons off of each story. I am serious when I say that. I can think of probably like 2 seasons worth of material that I would do from each story that we talked about today. That is how much they were showing out. And I have to live. I have to. I have to stand. I have got to stand. Because between Jean letting Scott slide, because there's no way you finna play in my face like that, and then Roberto and Jubilee, and I mean just literally everything, Beast having his moment of realization, Emma Frost, Bolivar, and then Cable. I mean, like, Rogue's storyline, probably this episode is my favorite, because I think it shows realistic grief and just not knowing which way to go, and then your hands being tied, or everyone else's hands being tied, and you don't feel like they can really give you the support that you need. And in her mind, support right now means revenge. So it's interesting to see the way that she's handling it, because she doesn't know what else to do. She doesn't know what other way to turn, because everyone is so busy trying to go through the proper channels and get this help and that help and band together and whatever else. And she feels like the retribution for them is just falling through the cracks. Baby. When the man said, I have nothing left, and she said, me neither, sugar. Girl, that hit me like a ton of bricks. That hit me like a ton of bricks. She didn't even have it in her anymore to try to be the good guy and be the bigger person and be the one that's going to help no matter what. And yeah, you know, I'm still going to respect this man and save him even though he was a part of this horrible thing. She didn't even have it no more. And I think this is a really good example of when you are constantly put in a place where you are using your power for other people. At what point do you say, okay, I'm still a person who experiences emotion? Girl, I was gooped and gagged. Gooped and gagged. But y'all, so we've been on here for a good little minute. I hate to cut this off. I think I'm going, because we are going back live again tonight at 7:30. So we're going live at 7:30. So I think I'm just going to take a little time, maybe go ahead, edit this, and then get it put out, because this is going to come out tonight, as well as my the Charmed ASMR video is coming out for the patrons and the subscribers. So if you'd like to join my Patreon or subscribe to my Patreon and support a content creator like me, please feel free to do so. And also, if you would like, or if you want to subscribe to the live, please feel free to do that. You can do either of those things. And if you want to just support me for free, please subscribe to my YouTube. They call me Mr. G. It's in my bio as well. And yeah, and join our Discord. We do have a Discord, so join our Discord as well. So I hope you enjoyed today as much as I did, because I love this. This was very, very fun. This was very, very, very fun. It was good to kind of get the thoughts out and just like decompress. Just decompress from it all. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I will see y'all hussies at 7:30 tonight. Sharp. If you show up at 7:31, we're going to fight. Right. Exactly. See y'all later.